What's going on, everybody? This episode is proudly sponsored by Performance Supplements, Red Clover Coffee, and Crunch Fitness. Now you can go over to performancesup with 2ps.com and put in code IWP at checkout to save 15% off site-wide. Also, redclovercoffee.com. I know you guys love coffee. I love it too. You can go over there and put in code IWP for 10% off everything on the website. Now, I have the Vitagrow here and it's Korea Grow from Alex Freaky, wrist wraps and straps, shaker cup t-shirt. There's more products on the way that he's sending. And then he also just launched a brand new series, I guess you will, is like a pharmaceutical line, which is going to be very cool. I'm extremely excited to try. And then Red Clover Coffee, a couple packages on the way. I'm going to do an unboxing video of that stuff. He sent a few things in there that I'll let you guys look at and see what they're all about. I can't wait to try the coffee. So I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors for the past episode or two going forward. They are our sponsors for Intel Within podcasts, and it's not possible without the sponsors. It really helps, and then also having you guys, the fans, tune in and check everything out that they have to offer. Thank you. What's going on, everybody? This is episode 9 with Kelly Burke. He is a very good friend of mine. Known him for almost a decade, what seems like more. It's kind of cool. We share the same last name, and I met him in Texas. And Kelly, he earned his IFBB Pro card. Successful entrepreneur, businessman, husband, father. Professional life coach. And so this episode is going to be awesome to kind of talk back with Kelly, because it's been some years, and get to know what he's doing now, what are like future endeavors, and just kind of go from there. So Kelly, go ahead and kind of give a little synopsis about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much wrapped it up. Like you said, guys, business owner. So originally was, personal training in the fitness space, and, fell in love with bodybuilding as a young guy, and wanted to, be a professional bodybuilder. So accomplished that goal. In the midst of that, I was printing t-shirts. This is one of my shirts for my brand. Me and Chris will probably get into that later on. We were just talking about some stuff offline that we're going to try to work on for you guys.
Yes,
but anyways, so printing t-shirts, and saved enough money from printing shirts to open up a gym. Originally the gym it's KRB Fitness, so I'm in the gym right now. But originally the gym was t-shirt printing and the gym together combined. And so started using that money to buy equipment, and then the gym kind of took over and pushed the print out and, focused more on the fitness side. And so from that, I turned pro in bodybuilding in 2016, competed in the classic division. And retired in 2017 because I saw that as a married guy, somebody with a family, somebody with business, somebody that had his hands full, it wasn't going to be feasible for me. I remember when I turned pro, this trophy that you see behind me right here, that's my USA's trophy where I turned pro in classic. The night I turned pro, bro, I thought I was going to be so excited because I won, which I was, but that's probably one of the loneliest nights of my life, because as I sat there in the room after a big win, it was just me. You know what I mean? Like Trey Wilder went with me, and a few other people from like the team. But when you win, it's all you, man. It's not like the NFL or something it's not like any other professional sport. When you win as a team, you can all go celebrate. Like if you win, you just won. And so I sat in my room with the trophy on my bed and looked at it like, what now?
Right.
And so after traveling that year and working the pro circuit, I quickly saw that, man, either I got to be single, either I got to have no responsibilities back home, like a business or family or kids, or I'm not gonna be able to make the right sacrifices to be at the top and stay at the top. So, ran for public office here in Arlington, Texas. That's where I live, guys. So Arlington, ran for public office in 2021, ran for mayor of my city, and then didn't win that, and then ran in 2022 for school board. Didn't win that either. I do have more political aspirations, so I'll run again in the future. And like Chris said, life coaching. So that is my newest endeavor, which I've been kind of dibbling in that for some time. I've been public speaking, been preaching and teaching on different platforms and churches, and being invited. I've been doing that for many years. So I felt like it was only time to stop running from what I feel like is the true calling, and that is to help people be the best versions of themselves. And so that's where we are. So I just released my first course, which is an online course. You guys can go check it out. It's called Self-Mastery, the modern day man and woman's journey to self-mastery. So that's on my website at kellyburke.com. So yeah, go check it out.
So let's support
Support, guys. We appreciate it. Our guests appreciate it, and I'm sure you would appreciate it as well. So, kind of let's start in the beginning. Let's let's go back to like little Kelly Burke. What did you kind of do when you were growing up? Were you into sports? What kind of like fueled your fire as you're growing up, and what were you into before you got a little bit older, and then we'll talk about what kind of got you into bodybuilding as well.
As a kid, bro, I was just really athletic, just an
Mhm.
outdoors kid, like to run and race people in the neighborhood, play football and basketball. And, I had aspirations of being a professional athlete, but the reality of actually performing on the field or on the track or in the gym frightened me. I mean, it frightened me bad, bro. And like, I really like, if stage fright was a thing, I had it. I remember being a kid, like getting on stage, give an Easter speech, bro, and had the speech down, worked on it for months at a time, and
Mm.
stood up there in front of all those people, bro, and just broke down in tears. Like, that was
Oh
me as a
no.
kid. Like, just scared, bro. You put me on. I'm Michael Jordan in the neighborhood. You put me in that court, I'm freezing, bro. I didn't have it, and so I didn't play sports as a youth. So no,
Mhm.
like Pop Warner football, no Pee Wee, no like YMCA basketball, none of that. Just a neighborhood athlete. But when I turned 13, I was a skinny kid, small kid, and late bloomer. So I'm 6'3" now, guys, 250 pounds, 45 pounds, somewhere around there. But back then, skinny and short, late bloomer. So got picked on a lot, teased. And so my 13th birthday, I told my father I wanted a weight set. He's like, "Well, why do you want a weight set?" I'm like, "Man, I want to get swole, man.
There
I
we
need to get
go.
some muscle, man. Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I got to do something about this." And so I started lifting weights at 13. I think that weight set went up to 135 or 150, and I benched that weight set before graduating the 8th grade. Um, and yeah, bro, I just started like training, and so once I got to uh, middle school, I ran track and played football. And so I fell in love with athletics at that point and was like, wasn't the greatest athlete on the field and on the track.
Mhm.
But what happened was I was just such a hard worker. Like I wanted to be better. And so I would work outside of practice. I would work outside of what the coach did with me. And I would be at home, bro, at nighttime. I ran hurdles. I remember the first year of me running hurdles in 7th grade. My dad was like, "Well, what are you going to do to practice?" I didn't have a hurdle coach. So I'd be over there working on by myself. He comes up there and he's like, "Gonna take some of these home?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we loaded them up in his car, and I had 3 hurdles at my house, bro. So I go practice at track. I get home at night, eat dinner, and I go outside under the street lights, bro, and I run those hurdles, bro, like 20 times, 30 times every night just to get better, bro. Same thing with football. And it was this, well, what I learned was, which equated over to personal training and bodybuilding, is that um, when I got older, I became a pretty good athlete. Though
Mhm.
I wasn't a screw up all my time. So when I got to high school, I bloomed. It came out. But before that, even in high school, what I learned from this was that a better training athlete than I was actually an athlete on the field or on the track. So
Right.
basically, I love to train. You know what I mean? And I trained
Mhm.
really hard, and I put like I didn't need people to do it. And so I think that that's what the drive and determination to be stronger, to be bigger, to be faster. And if I did well on the field, I wanted to, but if I didn't, it didn't really matter because it was like me versus me, and I created that mentality that I want to be the best version of me. And I felt like the weights gave me something. I felt like running fast gave me something, jumping, hitting hard, like not being picked on. And so when I got to high school, I created this image of me that I wanted to be because I didn't have that in elementary school and middle school. So when I
Mhm.
went to high school, I said nobody's going to pick on me, nobody's going to talk about me, nobody's going to push me around. I'm gonna be the best dressed. I'm gonna have the best vocabulary. If you crack jokes on me, I'm gonna tear you up. So I worked on the jokes in the mirror over the summertime, cracking jokes on myself. I talked about my teeth, about my nose, about anything that you could think of to crack a joke on me.
Have
When
a
you
counter.
cracked it, I cracked it back on myself and then
Yeah.
came back at you even harder. And so I created that image, bro. And when I got to school my freshman year, I became that guy, bro. Like I was talking crap to the seniors. Like I almost got a few fights, didn't back down. It was like, man, who is this dude?
Mhm.
But people were like, man, you're like a whole another person. And I've been that same guy and better, of course, as an adult because I think the weights and that personal determination to be the best version of me took over, and it equated all the way into school. So after I got out of school, I wouldn't try to play arena football, and that didn't work. And I just was like, all right, but I think I'm done with sports. But I was still weight training. So the weight training turned into competing. So I did my first show in 2013, competing in bodybuilding, the Rodney Coleman Classic,
Oh
and
yeah.
then did the Rodney again. I won the overall there, my first bodybuilding show. Did the Rodney in 2014, got third place. Came back, I did the Rodney in 15. I think I got fourth place, or third. No, I got third. Then in 16, 15, I competed against Joe Mackey and all them. I got 5th. And so I was like,
That's a
crap,
big
I'm getting
boy,
worse.
dude.
Yeah, but I went up to the super heavies because of my height.
Mhm.
I'm tall, so you got to be big, guys. And I wasn't 300 pounds. I got up to like 275. But
Didn't you switch at
it
one
was
point?
like,
You went from like that to classic, right?
because Classic came out.
Yeah,
So 2015 was my last year of competing in bodybuilding. And I was
that's what
like,
it was.
I'm going to take off 2 years. I was going to grow to 300. And then I was
Damn.
going to come back and compete. So thank God. After that, they started announcing Classic Physique was coming out. And I'll never forget, Stephen Frazier was my coach at the time. You remember Big Steve?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Steve called me and he said, I was like on this Classic kick even before it came out. So I'm posing Classic, and
It's
like,
great.
me and Trey had this thing that we came out with. It was like the true Classic Eric has returned. Like, we were
Mhm.
trying to bring this whole Classic era to bodybuilder stage. And so as I'm taking time off in my mind mentally to get prepared to grow up to 300 pounds, Steve calls me when they announced Classic and says, you ready to go get your pro card? I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
Dude, I
Yes.
remember when
So,
that was announced and you were talking about that. And I think you came into the shop one day, and when that like got announced, I was like, this is the best thing that could have happened for you, because I'm like, man,
yeah, you
like
said it.
just if you guys go online and go to KRB Fitness, is it the YouTube KRB Fitness? And go there and
Still,
just look back to those years. When you see his physique, that is men's classic. And as soon as that switch happened, dude, I was so pumped because I'm like, this is gonna happen. I was like, this is you. And you were one of the first ones at the time to compete when that switched over. And I mean, dude, you
yeah,
like your name was up here, bro. Like everybody
yeah,
knew.
yeah. I
Everybody
walked it,
knew.
bro. I did the Field Heat 2016, won the overall there. Went to USA's 2016, won the overall there. Did my pro debut a month after that, or 2 weeks after the USA's. That was San Antonio Pro, placed top 5. Competed against Robert Timms. He's still trying to battle it out on that level. But yeah, man, it was like it was my time, and I was like, bro, like this was. I felt like God was like, okay, you want it, here you go, And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, bro, like yeah. So there you go.
That's so man, to go. So when you said you retired in 2017, right?
Yeah.
So did you ever, from then until now, 6 years roughly, did you ever kind of like just like randomly have that urge and you're eating breakfast one day, you're getting your meals together, and it just like flashbacks coming through? Like, did you ever have that desire to want to try again, or was it just a complete like, hey man, like I got what I wanted and I achieved it and I'm comfortable where I'm at right now with the family and business and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, actually, I never had that feeling like I wanted to come back, bro. It's funny because when I said I was done, my mind, I'm like, I'm going to run for a political position. I'm going to start cleaning myself up and get myself ready to start speaking on stages. I want to get myself in suits on a weekly basis. I knew
Mhm.
where the direction was headed, and I saw it because I'm so big on visualization. I remember sitting at home after coming back from doing Pittsburgh Pro, Chicago Pro, and I'm sitting on the couch with my wife. Had lost the show, of course, and just sitting there, and that was such a bad experience, bro, of traveling as a pro alone and
Mm.
doing shows and not having anybody to be like, how do I look? I'm sending pictures and videos, but nobody's really your friend on that level because everybody, y'all all competing, y'all all want to win and get paid. It's not like amateurs. We're all friends on the amateur level. Everybody is cool. We're going out to eat. We're talking. The people in the audience, and I didn't have that experience, bro. And it was just a lonely road. And so as I came back home, I'm on the plane, like leaving the show, and I was like, I could really be done and be cool. Like I just felt it in my spirit, like I could be done and be okay. So
Right.
I'm sitting on the couch. My wife's like, what you gonna do next? I said, I think I'm done. She's like, done with what? I'm like, competing. I think I'm done with bodybuilding. She was like, no way. Like, I think so. She's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah. She's like, why? I'm like, I'm ready to, I can see myself going here and now. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And so over the years, one thing I miss the most about competing is posing. That's the first thing because I love to pose. And the second thing was just the camaraderie I got from the guys that trained. People, the competitors that came around and wanted to train with me, the energy that you when you're in tunnel vision getting ready for a show, you prep for a show a few times, so when you get that tunnel vision going, bro, and it's like you're reaching for a goal and it makes you drive really hard. But again, it goes right back to I always had a desire to train hard. I always had a desire to be the athlete that worked hard if nobody was looking, and so that's just who I was. And so I put myself through things like that now without having to get on stage. It's like, so right now I'm leaner. I've lost 15 pounds, bro, from the summer. I'm like, I'm about to get diced. And so, it's in my mindset. I'm doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So I never once, bro. So again, back to what happened. So people was like, I retired. Announced my retirement on social media. People were like, you'll be back. And I'm like, other pros, bro, you coming back, bro. Everybody says that. I'm like, nah, not me, bro. I'm like, no offense. And I don't have, if I did come back, I just came back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not telling y'all, if I wasn't going to retire, I would have said, be back like Arnold. You know what I mean? It would have been like, I'm done for now. I'll be back in 5 years. I'll be back when my kids are older. I'll wait till I'm 50 to do a master's show because they brought masters back now. But I was like, no, bro, I'm done and I'm good. And so over the years, here's the real reason I'm done, and I'll give it back to you, bro, because it's hard. And I don't think people really realize how much stuff you have to put into your body, supplementation, the food you have to eat, the times you have to get up in the middle of the night to eat, how tired you are, how stressed you are. And you're putting not only your body under the stress, you're putting your mental under the stress, and the people that are closest to you are affected by that as well. So, bro, I could no longer do that to my business. I could no longer do that to my family, my personal life, my social life changed. I just couldn't make those sacrifices anymore. So to be a free man, because I felt like I was being held hostage by this sport, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go back to that. If I want to eat a piece of cake, I'm going to eat it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, and I mean, working out all the time and having good genetics too, and it's man, I like being at the shop for so many years and just seeing the people come in, and I loved being there to help people out, of course, and it was just like that industry was just it was it for me, like how it is for most people. And I remember people were coming in, dude, and this one guy came in. It must have been 5'10", and he was like, I think maybe 165 pounds, pretty skinny. And he was telling me every time he'd come in, oh man, I'm eating 10,000 calories a day. I'm just like, are you sure? I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm like, man, are you, like, do you know how many like calories is actually 10,000 calories? Like, dude, Branch Warren, I talked to him multiple times.
10,000 calories a day,
bro. Yes. He sometimes he was eating 5,500 calories or 6,000 calories, and he would tell me like 10,000 is just like ridiculous. And I've talked to him back and forth when he had I guess he still has Wicked Cuts, the jerky, on the emails, and then in person. I mean, he's just like, dude, he's like 10,000 calories. He's like, that's just insane. He was like, your body can't really break it down, obviously. I mean, it's a lot. But do you remember Big Nate? Yeah, so he wrote me a meal plan, man. And then just so people can kind of relate to this, like what we're trying to talk about, is he wrote me a meal plan, bro. And it was, I think, he had everything graphed out or in a spreadsheet. And I want to say it was like maybe 5,800 calories. And that's a lot for me.
A lot.
And that's a lot. Bro, my first meal was 7:00 in the morning, and I still have that email. My last meal was 1:00 in the morning.
Because you couldn't go to sleep till you finished the food,
dude. It is all right, bro. It's hard, dude. And I was taking digestive enzymes to get the food broken down and absorbed in my body. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I gained probably, I think it was 12, 14 pounds in 3 weeks. I mean, I was just eating like crazy. But like you said, man, like the stress on your body and trying to get all the food down every day-to-day basis. I did that for 4 months trying to get ready for a show, and I just couldn't anymore, dude. I just couldn't. I was like, man, this is really hard. And obviously kudos to the people that have done it for decades and continue to do it. But that 4 months, dude, of trying to do that and get ready for a couple shows, and not only that, but the money, bro. Like I was spending $350 a week just for myself, and it's just it's so much. It is so much, dude. And you really got to have like a really good paying job, no bills, to be able to do that 24/7.
Agreed, bro.
Dude. So okay, so the bodybuilding part aspect of it, you're done, and then what got you started into doing the gym that you opened up? Like when did you open that up? What made you want to start that? Because I know we all trained at Metroflex, randomly. So
Yeah, originally, like I was at Metroflex, and I always wanted to have a gym. First of all, so it was like the dream to own a gym someday. Um, and when I went to Metroflex showed me that I wanted a corporate style gym originally. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a corporate style gym, but in a Metroflex, it showed me that I can actually do a gym and not have to go spend a whole bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I could do it's Metroflex, like we could just call us a refurbished gym, right? So I could go do a refurbished style gym and like with minimal money. And so when I went there, I saw how it was set up, and I was like, oh wow, I could probably do this now. I wouldn't have to wait, 5 or 10 years until I got the investors behind me or got some money from the bank. I could go do this now. And I remember one day Brian coming to me and saying, Brian Dobson's owner, Metroflex guys, and coming to me and saying that, hey, do you want to open up? I was like, yeah, I want to open up a gym one day. He said, yeah, you ought to open up a Metroflex, and I'll give you a big discount. And I was like, I was like, kind of, I want to do my own. I want to do what you did, but with my own brand,
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward 2015, I stepped out and I did that, and I opened up the gym, which is KRB Fitness. So 8 years later, we're still rocking. But yeah, bro, it was just a dream of mine because you just fall in love with fitness, bro. I was always in love with it, and in love with being in the gym and having seeing people come in and change, and so I started personal training, and and so fell into it from that aspect. But it was just that love of seeing people come into the gym and change, and then watching Pump and Earn with Arnold Schwarzenegger, bro. Every time I get questioned about bodybuilding, I talk about this on any podcast. I talk about bodybuilding, bro. Watch Pumping Earn, and you see that camaraderie they had in the gym, and just see just everything that they were doing back then, the way they trained, the way they pushed each other. And I was like, bro, I gotta open up a gym. Like I wanted a gym because of Pump and Earn, bro. Like I just wanted to duplicate that experience and feel that energy as much as possible. And I think I succeeded with that. I mean, like KRB at one point in time, bro, I felt like was kind of like, besides Metroflex, kind of like the mecca of bodybuilding here in Dallas Fort Worth. Then of course you had, I'll say Grand Prairie because you got Destination. You had so many others,
Yeah.
but for a lot of young people in this area, I felt like I was that.
So the gym was going, and then so what other endeavors did you kind of get into? And I want to say like I may know of one, but I'm not 100% sure. But didn't you you and your wife open up like a daycare or tried to, or how did that
Yeah,
go?
we opened up a daycare. We still
Okay.
have it. It's named after my wife, Miss Burke Christian Academy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we opened up the daycare. So the gym was 2015. The daycare was 17. Opened the daycare, 2 years after the gym. So yeah, bro, we still have it. We're 100 plus kids rolling.
Wow.
Full staff of employees. Like, yeah, daycare is doing very well. We do pick up and drop offs for kids that are in school, so the school age kids. But man, at one point it was actually like really an academy where we like really like schooling kids. So we didn't some of the kids that didn't go to elementary school, we actually were schooling them there at the daycare. But we've scaled back on the schooling program. And just focus more on the younger kids, and then we bus the older kids to school. But yeah, daycare is a great business, man. If anybody is thinking about going into daycare, because we started in the house, so we were in the house originally for 3 years, and it's very simple to get started in the house. Besides, you got to deal with the state. But for example, if you didn't want your wife to go work a regular job, or you didn't want to pay for daycare, you could have your wife start a daycare at home, which we did, and take care of anywhere from 5 to 8 kids at home. And you're getting paid weekly or bi-weekly payments for those kids, bro. And your wife doesn't have the stress of going to a regular job. Your kids are at home, and you can help as much as possible. But it's a great home-based business, and it's a great business for women that love kids and don't want to get out into the regular workforce. And you could always take that, which we did, and then translate it into real business. So.
How's that been having a daycare? Because that is something that we had thought about it, because my wife, she absolutely loves kids. She loves the whole aspect of like teaching them, and because with everything going on now, bro, with all these curriculums and all this like pushing stuff down kids' throats that we're extremely against. Dude, it's wild, bro. But we thought about homeschooling our kids, and then I was like, man, and I told her about you. I was like, man, I'm almost positive, but they opened up a daycare, and I don't know what happened with that conversation, because there's so much going on with us, and I brain dump things, and I forget stuff. I don't know if it's the freaking the vaccine shot that I had to get or what, but it's there's like, how is that? Is it stressful? Was it something that like wasn't too stressful getting into? Was like licenses or any kind of things you had to get through the state to be able to do something like that? And then, so just kind of take me through that.
You definitely have to be licensed through the state. So if you don't want to deal with the state, then don't do that business, because that's the state is all in your business, and the state can shut you down. You get three pretty much write-ups through the state, bro. It's over. You're done. So you got to be really on your P's and Q's. That's why I say when I say real business, that the daycare is a real business, because you're dealing with the government. Number one. Number two, it's just a hard business. I'm not going to say it's an easy business, because you're not only dealing with the kid, you're dealing with the kid's parents. And so you're pleasing people. And if you're not very good at pleasing people, wrong industry.
Yeah.
The parent's always right. You're not right. That parent's right. And it's like one of those things where if a parent's upset about something happened with that kid, you got to make it right. If a teacher upset a parent, or if the kid comes home and said it's about the teacher, you got to have a meeting. Everybody's got to come in the office and talk about it and make sure that the parent feels comfortable with this kid staying there. And then the parent has to feel comfortable with the teacher that the kid's going into that classroom. I mean, it's so many moving factors, bro. And then employees and staffing. The younger the kids get, the harder it is to keep the teachers. Because, you get infants room, and the teachers don't want to change diapers after a while. So, you have to deal with that. And so, I would say it's definitely a hard business, but I would say worth it. I think daycare business is worth it if anybody it's about kids. Like if somebody's a teacher in the regular school system, I think they could probably appreciate it a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because it's easy for you to understand children, or if you worked with youth, or if a woman worked in a daycare. So my wife, before we opened up the home daycare, she actually worked in a daycare. So she understood it a little bit better from the standpoint that she actually worked in one, and she was like, "Oh wow, I could probably do this myself." You know what I'm saying? And so then we went home. But I would tell anybody, if if you were thinking about doing this business, then just start at home, because the home is going to kind of give you an ability to wet your feet and see if this is something that I actually like. Because once you get to that building, brother, you got to deal with everything that comes with it. Now, there are a lot of perks, a lot of tax benefits, there are a lot of government benefits. When the money comes out, you're in line to get it. The government does take care of child care. They take care of schooling the same way. So with other businesses like the gym, like when I was trying to get my hands on some of that COVID relief money, it was way more difficult, and the money wasn't as big as it was with the daycare. You see what I'm saying? Because we had more staff. We're connected to the government directly. You got parents, and then you have what they call CCMS, and CCMS is pretty much parents that can't afford to put their kids in full-time childcare. The state covers like 75,
Like a
85,
subsidy
90%.
or something.
Yes, and so now you get this money that comes from that. You also can get paid off of food. So feeding the kids, you get reimbursed by the state for that program as well. It's called food program. So it's just so many different benefits that you can get from it, bro, and so many different write-offs. It's a wonderful. The structure of the business as a whole is a wonderful business. But definitely it's an uphill battle. I'll say that. Once you get it there, though, once you get on top of the hill, it's smooth sailing.
Do you guys have like the cameras in there too for parents to tune into? Because that was like a big thing for me.
We don't have the cameras where they can tune into. We have the cameras where it's recorded. So if an incident happens, we can sit down with you and say, "All right, let's go through it. What the time do you think it was? What day?" And then we'll just sit down and replay the footage. Because the problem that we ran into, we felt the biggest fear that we had, if they could see in the class, that we felt like the parent would be trying to run the class, and that's what we don't want. Don't want a parent to be like on their lunch break looking and being like, "Hey, who's up?" You know what I mean? And we don't want you to run the class. We want you to, if it's an issue, that we have the footage by law to be able to, if we needed to go to court or if we needed to show you, we have it right here. So we did it that way. But a lot of daycares do have it where you can look at it live. I just felt like that would be a big issue.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point, because I never thought about it that way. Probably just because I wouldn't, I'm not that parent, and neither is my wife in that sense, to try to micromanage or something like that. But I'm sure they would be, or knowing that you can tune in live, that you just be glued to your phone all day watching to see how the teacher takes the step.
A lot of people probably would, bro.
Yeah.
And even if they're not looking at it, they would have it up kind of like social media, so that when they're not doing
just
something,
like
they would browse and look at it. And, yeah, exactly. That's how they would do it. And then they'd be like, "Oh, what the." A message, "Hey, did you know that such and such?" And it's like, "Oh, well, you're running the classroom." Stuff is gonna happen. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. No, we're not robots up there. There's not machines that are taking care of our kids. These are actually human beings, and so we got to look at it from a standpoint like, hey, we need a little bit of grace here. but we do have you protected and recorded in case something does go down.
Yeah. So, what is go over the name of it again and kind of plug it for people that in case they want to like kind of check it out, they know where to go and the name of the business.
Yeah, so it's Miss Burke's Christian Academy. So if you guys check us out on the website, Facebook, Miss Burke, everything's Miss Burke's Christian Academy. So we're located right here in Arlington, Texas, right off of Matlock and Sublet. So if you're in the Arlington area, come by and check us out.
So, what other businesses do you have that you're into? You got the KRB Fitness, and then you got the clothes. Is that all like a huge entity? And then you have the daycare. So, what else are you guys kind of dabbling in?
Then the recent thing is the two recent things is real estate. So we bought some land in the country. We bought 15 acres in East Texas, and we're going to actually build into a farm. I'm gonna build a house on it too. We're going to live out there. The next 3 years, my goal is to fully be out there full time. But for now, we have an RV too. So we're going to take the RV once we get our well drilled. We're going to put the RV out there, and then on the weekends, we're going to start building the farm, little by little until we get the house built out there full time. And then, so plan on getting to some cattle. So the farm is going to be called to be a ranch. So Birth Beef Farms. So we'll have my own beef, get into the cattle business, and my wife will have the crops and things like that, bro. But just really want to get back into nature, number one. Separate myself from the busyness of life so I can focus more on things like what you're doing, the podcast, authoring, working on more of my online courses, building up courses. Because I like the life coach side, but I've been like doing the fitness coaching where, people are checking in. And I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest with you, bro. I don't really like prepping people. I have one competitor that I work with right now. He's a trainer at the gym and he's under me. And I'm really good with just having one competitor. I'm not a fan of people like checking in and having to send pictures and like I'm trying to go out on a date with my family and my kids and I got to answer a phone call because you're freaking out because your salt's running over some crap. So I'm not a fan of that. But what I am a fan of is creating programs. Bro. Yeah. Competitors are babies, bro. I wasn't a baby, but the reason I wasn't a baby as a competitor because I saw so many other competitors be babies. So it made me be like, bro, I'm gonna be like ass hands off. If I look good, I'm not calling, bro. If something goes wrong, I'm gonna deal with it tomorrow. I just want to focus on programs. So building online e-commerce programs so that it'd be diet, nutrition, training, philosophies, just everything, just programs, bro. You buy the program, send your updated pictures like that. I can update it to the web to show people he finished the program. These are his results. And if you liked it, buy another program. But I'm not going to be checking in with you. So that's on that end. So forming, focus, and that's what I'll be doing when I get out there besides actually working on the farm. And then in the city, we bought our first real estate property. And so that's going to transfer over to the second one once we finish with that. Should be done with this one in like 2 more weeks. And then I'm going to go get so this one is a regular family home. So I'm going to go get like a multiplex, triplex, fourplex, duplex, and rent those doors out and start collecting rent, and bro, just try to add to the portfolio, bro. So, real estate, you and I both know, bro, real estate is the number one way to build real wealth. And so, if you got real estate, then you are moving in the right direction. And so I've been putting it out for a long time, and I just can't I'm 40 now. There's no reason for me not to be doing this, but it takes some time to get your head on straight. If I would have known what I knew now, I bought my first house at 24. Mm-hmm. If I would have known what I knew now, I would have kept that house and I would have went and got another one. Yeah. And then another one. And then got a duplex. But I didn't see it, bro. I just didn't see it. I was young and dumb and, just didn't see it. And so, yeah. So that's where I'm at, bro.
Dang, that's exciting, bro. Because I know one of my buddies, he's a good buddy. I'm sure y'all know each other. I may have to kind of show you offline. His name is Nathan. I believe it's Marek. I'll have to show you who he is, but he is into that whole thing too of like he bought property or is buying property and then getting cattle and stuff like that. So how expensive is it to essentially, set that up and get cattle? Because aren't cattle like, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a piece on those things, or is it way cheaper? Because I don't know anything about that, but I do know that Christine and I, we want to do the whole property, buy Airbnbs, and thankfully, through the military, through like the VA loans and stuff like that, it's going to make it a little bit easier. But man, I try to tell people, I don't do it all the time because it's not my genre, but the sense of like, don't go like buy a home per se. Like you want to like rent it out and then use that money that is coming in from rent to pay for another home as far as like that liquid and that return on investment or ROI. So yeah, how expensive is the cattle and all that stuff to get that going?
let me go to real estate, and I'll go back to
Yeah.
cattle. So yeah, what you're saying, yeah, that, or you go get the plex or fourplex, and you live in one side, because you can get on an FHA loan. You can go get a duplex, bro. They'll approve you for a duplex on an FHA loan, and you can live. You just got to live in it for a year or 2 years,
Like
whatever they
yeah,
say.
it's like
Now
two
it's
years.
just a year now. I think now it's a year though, but
Wow.
you can live in it for a year or 2 years, whatever they say, on your conditions, and you leasing out those other doors, and then after your year is up or whatever's up, then you go get you move out, put another renter in that one, and go get another one, do it all over again. So that's what I would do. Then whenever you're ready to buy a dream home, you buy your dream home. But until then, you're just gonna rent a house. Like, what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because you make the money off of the property. So, but cattle, back to the cattle question. So
Mhm.
cattle, bro, are really not that expensive when you're buying calf. 'Cause you can get a calf as cheap as $500. Now
What?
you're selling it for thousands once.
Kind of frozen.
Your heart that you want to start. Just stand on a business in your heart that you want to start. Good setup, guys. Let's go in. This brother right there. All right. Yeah. Thanks. It's a lot of bad things. It was the fat kid that got picked. That's 200 and I was taking the mail all about a Saturday night.
Oh shit. Dude, I hope it's not this fucking Discord. Mhm. I'm going too easy.
Okay.
There we
Yep.
go.
I was like, oh crap, what happened?
You were just like frozen, and I'm like, oh no, I'm looking around. I'm like, did my stuff disconnect? And I was like, no.
But you know what? I knew something was up because I was actually freezing during the interview, bro. But
Hmm.
freezing, you could still hear me, so I was just like, all right, since he can still hear me, I'm gonna just keep going. So like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then I would like move my mouse around and it would work. So, anyways, hopefully it won't happen again.
yeah. No, it's okay, cool. I'm just gonna make a note right there. All right, and cool. So we're still recording. So right before it got disconnected, you were talking about the price of cattle, and then that you said it would sell it for thousands.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just kind of pick back up there, and I'll just have my buddy Taylor edit it. Smooth transition, good to go.
All right, cool. So yeah, man, you could buy a cow as cheap as $500. You know what I mean? So let's say you know, anywhere from a few $100 to $500 per cattle for a calf, and then you can turn around and sell them for a few $1,000s or up to $5,000 depending on what kind of cow that is. Some of them go up to $10,000 if you're getting like Wagyu beef and those expensive like
Damn.
Japanese, Chinese type of cows. But yeah, bro, I think it's a good business. I mean, you just got to be somebody, depending on how hands-on you want to be with the cattle, depends on what kind of cattle you need to get. So I don't want to be super hands-on, but once I live out there, it'll be a lot easier for me to be able to manage the business. But
So what all animals do you plan on having out there besides the calves and growing them into bigger cows? Like, what you gonna have, like the whole like chickens and roosters and like sheep and all that stuff?
yeah, we're going to have pretty much everything. Not a lot of everything, but we're going to at least have something of everything. We all, and I say everything. It's a lot of animals that you can have, but the
Sure.
basic animals from a farm, probably everything except a pig, because I'm not just a fan. I'm not a fan of pigs, but it's crazy because already pigs out there, bro. They're wild boar. And did you know this too? Funny fact, man. I just learned this, bro. Did you know that all pigs, they're not like bred animals or kept on a farm? If you let them out and you just let them be wild, they'll turn into those boars.
What?
Yeah, their teeth will grow like those fangs, just like the regular wild boars. They turn into that because that's what a pig was birthed to be. It's birthed to be a wild animal, but we domesticate them just like any other animal.
Wow, I
It's
have
just like our
never known that.
dogs and wolves. So it's the same kind of concept. So like we got a pup now, right? We got a border collie, which is border collie's a farm dog. So we got
Mm-hmm.
him to prepare. So we go out to the farm, right? But we already have chickens. So I'll go back to what our animals we're gonna have. So we have chickens in the backyard right now. Dude, that border collie got a hold to a chicken the other day and like sliced the neck open. God, the chicken lived.
Oh wow.
You know,
Jeez.
and the dog's just being a dog. Like
Yeah.
chickens are really brittle though, bro. Like you can kill a chicken, bro. Like they're not like those feathers are just feathers. Like like once you dig deep in there, like the neck is only this big. Like they're like really brittle animals, bro. The legs are like like a pencil, like
Jesus. Yeah.
pencil. So it's like how he like a puppy would grab you and bite on your arm,
Mm-hmm.
the neck gashed a piece of the neck. And so what? Why? Because that dog's a wolf. It's the same thing as that pig, bro. You put that pig outside of that and put it into the wild, it turns into a freaking hunter, bro. And so it's just crazy. We have those out there already. So I put my fence up around. So I got my fence line to keep them out because, bro, those things will kill you. And we
Wow.
have bucks. So those big deer, the bucks.
Mm-hmm.
First day we bought the property, I'm moving the gate back to go in, me and my son, and the grass is super tall. The grass is tall as my son. When we first got it, we hadn't cut anything. We just bought it. Bro, two big bucks, bro, running through the grass. Just huge. I'm talking about these things were like way taller than me, bro. They were huge, bro. Big,
Jesus.
massive animals, bro. I'm like, holy crap. So yeah, I put a fence up to keep those pigs out. You can't keep the deer and the bucks out, but they're friendly. They're not gonna kill you. Those pigs will. So yeah, again, we're gonna have pretty much a lot of chickens because that's her main thing is the chickens, and my main thing will be cattle. So and then everything else will be kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of sheep, maybe a goat here, a mule, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the main thing will be feeding the chicken because I'm already eating the chicken's eggs. But I've been eating our chicken
They're
there for
so good,
months.
dude. They're so good.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
And especially like when you know what you're feeding them, you don't have to worry about it at the grocery store because I mean, we've done a lot of research in the fitness industry, and that was huge for us back then, years ago, trying to figure out what's better, like farm raised or pasture raised or cage free. And if you
Yeah,
look at them, there is a difference to most of them. It's like some of them get supplied. I think it's more like vitamin K or vitamin D by like hundreds of milligrams difference of how they're raised. And my brother-in-law, he had chickens down here in Cali, and the difference that you taste in like a pasture or what is it, pasture raised or cage free
farm
egg.
right.
Yeah, and then
Wild.
bro, you
Free range.
take those eggs first thing in the morning, bro, out in the wild right there, and putting them and cracking them in the on the pan. Man, it tastes so good, bro. And I'm like, damn,
It's
it makes
just the
me want
experience. Just the
chickens.
experience of just being
Yeah,
able to go in your backyard. 'Cause that's what I'm doing, bro. I can just go in the backyard, grab an egg
it's
or two, and
easy.
like what I mean. Yeah, it's like, bro, it's yours. Yeah, you pay one time for the chicken, bro, and it's like we're going to the store. Now I still have to go to the store because we only have two. We had three, and one of them, some got it. So they're producing like about 4 eggs a day, but I'm still eating like 6 eggs a day. So sometimes I'll still buy my eggs too to mix with them. But once we order some more, so once these other ones come in, actually we had some when we went out of town. We came back, we had some in the little hatcher
Mm-hmm.
and like the eggs, and none of them hatched except one. And so we was like, oh, we got a new chick. So we had it and we took it up to the daycare in the morning. My wife had it under the red heat light, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and it died, bro. That light cooked it. It was too close to the light. Like you got to
Oh
keep them.
no.
We had to have it in a big box, but it was just like we just got it, like it was just born, like it was just a baby chick, bro. It was only alive for like 2 or 3 days, and yeah, bro, cooked that thing to death, man. I was like,
Damn.
oh, I'm walking around telling my wife, I'm like, you're a murderer. You're like a chicken murderer.
It's I think brother-in-law had like 7 or 10 of them, and man, they're pumping out 8 or 9 eggs a morning, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't have to. Yeah, he didn't. When you get that many, you don't have to buy eggs ever again.
And it's
You can at
insane.
least get anywhere from, if you can get 2 to 4 eggs per chicken, and you get up to 10 of them. Yeah, you don't have to buy eggs, bro. It's you just eat their eggs.
Dude,
Mine's
and
a collect.
they're cheap.
I'll let them add up though.
The chickens are cheap.
Yeah, they're not expensive at all. People don't know, bro. People just don't know that animal, so they don't want to mess with it. So if you talk to somebody in the city, but it's funny because you're in California.
Yeah, we're in Northern California.
A lot of people that moved to Texas from California that I met, they have chickens, bro. The weirdest thing. I'm like, well, you would think it'd be the other way around. It's like a lot of the Californians, bro, that are here now, or they have chickens. They had them when they were in California. So a few people, they were like, oh yeah. I just started talking about, like, yeah, we got them. We always had them. I'm like, oh wow, where you from? He's like, Cali. I'm like, bro, really? I was like, bro, we're behind. He was like, yeah, y'all are in the cattle.
Yeah, man.
Like, yeah, you're right.
Huge cattle
like,
out there in Texas.
Is cattle,
Yeah,
but chickens are easy freaking animal, man. And then there's 2 different ones. You got chickens that are for your layers that lay your eggs, and then you have chickens for just the meat. Those are 2 different chickens. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I don't know any of that.
You can eat the chickens that produce the eggs, but those chickens are for producing eggs. You get the other chickens that don't really lay eggs. Those are for you to eat them. So the chickens that we eat in the store, those are bred for you just to eat. They're not really producing eggs.
Yeah, it's something that we wanted to, because like I mean, not like at the property that we have right now, because we live out in like the hills per se, so our backyard goes flat like this, and then it just like a 45-degree incline pretty much, and just goes up. And so I want to have I want to have applicable room for them to where it's not like cluttered in the backyard, because we like to entertain. So we always like having friends over and doing like house parties and barbecuing, and I ain't trying to stick a freaking a chicken nest right next to everybody out on the patio with everything going on. But yeah, man, it's definitely something that we want to do.
Coop, bro. Be in a coop.
I know in off the, like, if you were to cut this wall down behind me or tear this wall down, like my backyard, it comes you go out into the patio, and it's all open. We got like big ass like redwood trees or whatever, and then it's almost like an L, and then that bottom part of the L would probably be the best spot to go, if my wife wanted to do like some gardening or have them chickens down there off to the side by themselves with the coop. So that would be exciting too. But man, that's going to be exciting, bro. I'm happy for you. That's it's so awesome, because like where we used to live like in Texas, we used to live in Las Colinas, and it's highway, super busy, bro. It was amazing, bro. I loved it, but it's just like it's like so much city all the time, because that's just all it is out there, all those buildings. And we like the idea of like what your family is doing is to kind of go out and kind of essentially get off the grid. But if you need to drive somewhere to go city wise, it's not that far, 15, 20 minutes or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how ours is, bro. We're like right off the freeway. So when you exit off of 30, so first of all, it's a straight shot off of 30, bro. Like literally, you just take 30 all the way out to East Texas, bro. 2.5 hours of just 30. And then when you exit off, you make a right, and then you make a left, and then another right, and you're like into our neighborhood. But so yeah, we're probably about 15 minutes from, probably the highway, but you're in the country, so once you get out and you turn down that street off of 30, bro, it's straight country, brother. It's just houses with land, bro. Just cattle everywhere. Right next to us is a deer farm. which is pretty cool
Oh,
because they're
wow.
raising like Bambi over there. You know what I mean? So the kids are always like, "Oh, look at the deer," you know. So yeah, bro. First day we got it, I went out there and started shooting. I was just letting shots off just right there, bro. Just
Because you
you
can.
know, the thing about it with me is it's this guy named Victor David Hansen, and he speaks a lot. Well, he's a professor, but he speaks a lot at Hillsdale College. Have you ever heard of Hillsdale College?
I have not.
Okay, so he speaks. He's. I think he's actually a tenured professor with them, but he's actually a farmer by trade. Now his business is more. Now his farm is more commercialized because he sold a lot of it off, and so he doesn't have to actually get out there and physically do anything because he's getting paid to allow people to farm on his property. But they're like he owns like real acres, so they're like industrial type of farming.
Wow.
That's what he does. He's actually a farmer, and he said I was listening to him in an interview, and he said, you know, everybody's trying to figure out how to speed life up because life is so fast, and I wanted to figure out how to slow it down. And he was like, and being in the country and being on that farm, life is slow. And he said, I love it. And I was like, wow, that's
It's
so powerful,
powerful,
man.
dude.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? That's what I want. I want to be able to slow my life down because some of the things that I'm the best at, again, like writing, like, you know, speaking, teaching, some of these things, bro, I'm so busy that I don't have the time to do them or don't find the time to do them enough. And I feel like if I could get my butt to a farm and get my butt out there where I'm actually getting up and putting my hands in the dirt every day, messing with these animals, and then being able to go sit down and write and create and being in a real good creative space, I feel like I can come up with more content and be even more useful to the ethos in the universe if I'm away
Yeah.
from everybody. Because I don't have anything that's distracting me from creating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like really being back in the to deep work. Have you heard of that book, Deep Work?
No. So I am I'm not the best reader, but I'm in the office right
Oh,
now,
through
and
the audio,
I'm
the audio book.
surrounded by books, bro. So my wife reads all these books. I love the idea of reading a book and getting into it, but man, I don't know what it is, bro. Like I open a book and I get 30, 40 pages into it on one like little read one night, sometimes maybe 20 pages, and then it's like as soon as I close it, just I forget about it. And it's like out of sight, out of mind because I leave it in my drawer, but that's just me and books. I mean, I
Just
do
busy,
love yeah,
busy doing
man.
other
It's
stuff.
just
You
I
got to
could
do audiobooks, bro.
I
Try
could be better.
audiobooks.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Audio is just like listening to this podcast. I mean, like
Hmm.
it's so easy. And when I'm especially when I get in the car, that's how I finish my books now. It's like when I get in the car, I just cut it on and let it play. I get out, then I go back in the store, whatever I'm doing, get back in, cut it right back on. And so it'll take me, bro, like a few days or a week to finish a book because I'm listening to it audio through the car. And then it's easier for me to like go back and listen to it again. If I miss something, I'll be like, I'm gonna listen to this thing twice if I miss something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what my
like
wife
that.
does. She finished a couple books actually doing that stuff and would play them in the car because I was in Texas uh, April 19th to the 27th because she was going off for deployment and we had to drive down to Killeen, which Killeen, Texas. If anybody is from there, I'm sorry, it is awful out there, dude. But on the
Awful.
dude, oh my
It's nothing
goodness,
out
bro,
there, bro.
dude, it's so
It's nothing in
bad,
Killeen, bro.
so bad. And
Killeen's just the military.
I mean, it is. Fort Hood is. I think it's like Fort Hood
That's what
is like,
Killeen is.
bro, it's like 350 some miles of a base, dude. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it.
that's what Killeen is. Fort Hood is Killeen. That's all
Yeah,
it is, bro.
yeah, and
No
so
offense
we're
to you Killeen people, but yeah.
no, all the offense for me. I don't like it, bro. But when we were driving out there, we would play the podcast, and that's how we finished it. Like just like, I think it was maybe a 2 hour drive there and a 2 hour drive back from Arlington almost, and we would just finish it as we're like listening to it as we're driving. I'm like, dang, I was like, this is nice to not get distracted by anything and not have to worry about what song is coming on next. You just play that and you just go with it. So
Agreed.
yeah. So we got the farming stuff going on, and tell me about the life coaching. Like I know you talked about it in the beginning a little bit, but as far as I guess if you can dive more into like what hooked you, what got you started, and I know you said you're going to be putting out programs and stuff like that, but this life coaching thing that I personally started seeing now too pop up for you. How's that stuff going?
Yeah, I've already got the first program out, and that one is self mastery. So that one's already on the website. So you guys can go check that out if you would like to support at kellyburke.com, kellyburke.co. But yeah, bro. Again, I mean, I had already been doing that. I had already been, mentoring men and people for so many years and giving advice and sitting down. I mean, bro, I'm a minister, so I've always been a minister, and I'm licensed, so I could marry people. So in order to marry people, I would counsel them. So you would still have to go through counseling sessions, and I had been doing that for years, bro. Like it was like
Hmm.
nothing new, but people would say things like, "You should actually get paid to do this. You should just be a life coach." Like over the years, like
Why,
people would
yeah,
go
why
see
not?
their psychiatrist and like talk about stuff, and then I would have friends that would be like tell their psychiatrist something that I told them, and they'd be like, "This guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Like maybe he should be a life coach, or maybe he should be a psychiatrist." I'm like, "Well, I'm not trying to go back to school to be a psychiatrist," but I was like, so but again, I think a lot of times in life, something that you should be doing or something that you're good at, for example, like a singer, somebody that know somebody has a talent to sing but they don't sing.
Yeah,
It's kind of that thing. It's kind of like what you're the best at or what you're good at may not be what you wanted to do. Trey Wilder, prime example. Trey was a great artist. We didn't know Trey was a great painter.
true.
We just knew Trey as a bodybuilder and a graphic designer. That's all we knew.
Hmm.
The first mural that he painted in Dallas Fort Worth was at KRB. Train
Oh
and sang.
shoot.
That's what
Okay.
he said. Yeah, but nobody knew. And the only reason he painted it because I kept trying to bring in painters, graffiti artists to do graffiti on the wall. And he kept saying, "Man, I'd do it." And I was like, "Bro, whatever. You can't paint." He's like, "No, I'll do it." He's like, "Bro, I got a mural on my high school, bro. It's still there. Nobody is still there, bro. It's that good." And he's like, "Bro, you can't paint, bro. You're a graphic designer, bro. Like, be
Mm.
quiet." And finally, I got this guy to come over, and Trey was just like, "Hey, bro, let me do it." I was like, "I'm gonna do it today." And he started like painting it, and boom, voila. And this is one of his pieces right behind me, guys. He painted my office. It says "The time is now." Actually, you can't really see it because it's big. I told him to make it small so you can see it when I'm doing videos. But that's Trey's big. So he made it all the way the whole wall. But anyways, yeah, that's some of his artwork. But the whole room and gym is filled with his stuff. But I think that's what it is, bro. It's just that just one of those things that it's like, I'm supposed to be doing this thing.
Hmm.
Number one, like I really don't want to do it. Number one, and number two, like how do I even put myself out there? Because you got to put yourself out there as a not an expert, but somebody that is a voice in the field. So if I'm going to be telling people about how to live their lives, right, then it puts me under the spotlight. Like
Hmm.
now you got to make sure that you're living it, Kelly. You got to make sure that you're, and so it's like, bro, I just didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to put myself and my life under the magnifying glass. I didn't want to be the voice of trying to tell people how to live their lives, but I have been doing that behind the scenes for so long. And so I just had to get over my own anxieties and fears of what people's opinions would be of me or how they would feel about me, and actually just walk into who God called me to be, because that's what he called me to be. That's who he put me on this. He put me on this earth and gave me these gifts for a reason. And so if you run from them, then you'll never fulfill your purpose. And so I don't want to be the guy that's 90 years old. If God wills me to be 90, I think I'm gonna live to be 100, actually, Chris. And I think I'm gonna die in my sleep too. But anyways, that's a whole another story. I
Okay.
don't want to be that old grandpa sitting around on the porch and telling my grandkids, "Well, I would have been a bodybuilder, but I was,
Hmm.
and I would have tried, but I would have opened up a gym. But I don't want to be that guy. So if it's something that I know I'm supposed to do, I just do it. And so this is the thing that I know I'm supposed to be doing, and I do have a voice. And so I just started going to the internet, bro, and just putting up videos of just me just giving advice. Just like, just random topics, random subjects, whatever came to mind. Like if somebody
Hmm.
would ask me a question, a lot of these things I'm doing are really Q&As, because somebody would have asked me that question and I would do a video on it, not saying somebody asked me this question. I would just do a video, like struggling to find purpose. Boom, let me do a video on it. Like, what I mean? How do you know what's the right time to start a business? Let me do a video on it. And so, so from that, it's like, well, I was like, let me just create a course, bro. And so I just composed all this information. And it's really my life. This is my life. This is my experiences, my life application from biblical principles, from a moral standpoint of what I learned from the Bible, and just with dealing with people in different facets, because I love people. I'm a people person, and I've been in the corner for the people that burn me, and people that been burned by other people, and people that are just trying to navigate life. And I, I also was raised by a dad who was that same way. My dad's really a life coach, bro. He gives great advice. He's a
Okay.
great mentor. And like I picked it up from him. Like it's all passed down. So it's just hopefully every generation gets better. So hopefully my son will be even better than me than I am my father. And so, that's just how it works, bro. So I just feel like now is the time and I'm walking into it. And so hopefully the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be exciting, man. I'm like, I like truly from one friend to another, of course, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, I'm going to be excited to see you grow and just to be like, damn, like, like one of my friends is doing it because, you know, sometimes at the end of the day, man, it's not to put anybody out there, but sometimes your friends, or at least you think your friends, like they support you in the sense of like they'll watch your stuff, but then they don't support you. You know what I'm saying? Like they won't. Like for example, your clothing line, right? Like they're your friends, but it's like they're if they want to go get clothes or do something, they'll go to Tilly's or go to Dickie or not Dickie's. Damn, what's that place called? I forgot what it's called. Anyways,
Yeah, whatever. Something. Yeah,
yeah,
something
they'll
in the
go.
mall.
Yeah, they'll go to another store and they'll spend let's just say 30-40 bucks on a T-shirt when it's like hey, like your friend Kelly has a shirt line, something. You've got something for everybody, bro. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, there's not a shirt that I see that I'm like, oh, dude, like that's no way. Like, it's
Right.
it's like every shirt looks cool. It like this shirt you're wearing right now, like the colors on there, like the text, like everything. That's the first thing I said when I saw you. I'm like, damn, bro, I like that shirt. You know,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, it's just one of those things where some people just don't get it. And the thing is that when people step out there like you and I, and we try to and we do like the entrepreneurship or try to do something ourselves, those people that like aren't going to support you, like they're afraid to do that, but they'll watch from afar. And like I saw a comment the other day. Got to be kind of sneaky about this, but this said person had a business or has a business, and this other person, um, you know, never, I guess, essentially never really bought anything from them. But then when they bought something, the other person, commented and was kind of like, "Wow, about time." And I'm like, "Damn," like I kind of, yeah. But I'm sure it's all fun and games because they know each other. It's just probably just like banter. But I'm not trying to get down a rabbit hole, but it's like like man, the coolest thing is supporting your friends, bro. It's the coolest thing to have everybody eat and everybody blow up because like you need that support from your friends. Why not? I just don't understand it. I like it.
I struggled with that for a long time too. Originally when I first opened a gym because people didn't come that I thought was going to come. And so I'll never forget, bro. One day we were sitting in the gym, and man, me and Trey were sitting in the office, bro. We just falling asleep. Nobody's walking through the door, bro. And we promoted it. We posted on social. We're trying to do everything, and we're just sitting in the gym. We were like falling asleep, dozing off. And I get up. I'm like, I'm gonna walk outside. And so I walked outside. I walk into the back, and I'm just kind of like looking. And I was like, dang, really? Trey walks out, and he said, "Why won't they come?" And I'm like, "What come, Trey?" He's like, "No, bro. They said they were gonna come if you open this gym, and they didn't come."
Mm.
And he left. He's like, "I'm gonna go get something to eat," and he leaves. And just as clear as day, it's like God just spoke to me and said, "Because you have to create your own crowd." I was like, "Yeah,
Dang,
makes sense."
they give me goosebumps, bro.
But you got to think, bro.
Yeah.
Whenever you're creating something, the people that support it are always new.
Mm-hmm.
When I jumped into bodybuilding, bro, my family wouldn't come to shows because I'm standing up there with trunks on. I met you. I met like a whole group of new people that we were like-minded and together, and it was almost cultish. You know what I'm saying? And I was not ashamed to say that.
No, yeah.
Bodybuilding's kind of cultish. I wasn't afraid to admit that I was part of the cult too. Like, hey, if we don't have a leader, like the bodybuilding is the leader. You know what I'm saying? But we're kind of all in the cult together. We kind of all eat the same way, think the same way. We kind of move the same way. We look the same way. Everybody kind of dresses the same way. We support the same stuff. Like, and so it was kind of like your vibe creates the tribe. And so now it's like, okay, it'll be a slow start. So now I'm moving into the life coaching and giving advice and mentoring and counseling and coaching. It's like it may be a slow start because people might not support it like that because people are used to Kelly Burke being the bodybuilder. But the same thing when I ran for political office, people were coming up to me and be like, "Bro, where'd this come from?" I'm like, "Bro, I've been this guy for a long time. I just didn't talk about it because why am I talking about my political beliefs when I got to get on stage and hit a front door bicep? That's what you wanted to see. You know what I'm saying?" But people that really, really, really knew me from like years ago, they were like, "Oh yeah, I seen this coming." You know what I mean? But if you only know somebody for where you know them from, so it's gonna be plenty of friends that know you from Chris Military. There's gonna be plenty of friends that knew you from Chris Bodybuilder. There's gonna be plenty of friends that only know you from the podcast because you created the podcast now.
Yeah,
And so
that's a
it's
good
kind of
point.
like all these different facets that you've been through in life. You can't expect the people to go with you because you can't take everybody. It's like Moses with the children of Israel when he's standing at the Red Sea. Like, if you come on right now, we're gonna go through this Red Sea. But guess who couldn't come? Pharaoh and his people. And they were living under him. They got drowned in the sea. And so some people are just going to get drowned in the sea. And so it makes it easier for me to be able to start something and maneuver something and change something and rebuild something and be like, okay, well, these people aren't going to support it because they don't know me from that. But it's just fine. It's like when I first started like putting up videos where I was preaching or teaching or talking about God, bro, people were like, what are you doing? My YouTube channel just boom, it plummeted, bro, because I was
Because of
doing
a
something new.
religious?
Huh?
Because of religious?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just because it was like, oh, wait, now you're being too preachy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can talk about God, but with some people are just like, oh, now it's too preachy, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so you lose. And so I'm just like, whenever you start a new thing, now I'm to the point where it's like, I'm gonna give you grace. Like, if you're my friend and you don't support it, I don't even care anymore, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna still be
Facts.
friends because I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, like, when you start something, I might think it's weird too. Yeah, I've had plenty of my friends that started something, and I was like, I don't see this being good for them. And some of the time it didn't work out, and sometimes it did, where I had to come back and eat my words and be like, hey, when's the event? I'm showing up. You know what I mean? I had to sit there and be like, wow, he's really doing this. You know what I'm saying? And so I think then here's the last part of it, and I'll give it back to you. Sometimes people never don't jump on until they see the success. So we have to be so secure in our success when we get it that we're not mad that they didn't catch the wave then and still let them come in. Because it's like, hey, bro, if you came in, you came in. You didn't come in the beginning and you missed a lot of stuff. But now that you're here, come on in and enjoy it because I'm still going. I'm still moving forward. But hey, you missed a lot of it because you wasn't supporting it then. But you want to catch the bandwagon now? I'm not going to stop you from catching it because it's really a good bandwagon to be on.
Yeah, and so I like that you touched base on that because I just had this happen 48 hours ago, and I'm
Wow.
yeah, and this person is not a bad person by any means. I mean, if he watches this, which obviously he's watched the other episodes, he is not a bad person at all. He is a very good friend of mine. It's just that when like they're off in the distance, and I've got I think 8 episodes now. This one's number 9. So like they sit there and they just kind of like watch these episodes going, and then all of a sudden one day it'll just click in their head like, dang, how do I be a part of this? And now I'm getting messages from people that never supported me when I was at the supplement shop, when I had my own supplement company, the Savage Sport Nutrition, which I'll talk about that in a second. Or when
I was rocking with you on that.
dude, so it's the shop, the supplement company. My wife and I still own the military clothing line. We just haven't done anything with it just because I mean, dude, we're so busy and I'm getting medically retired. I'm just going through that whole process. It's like the clothing line. What else was it? And then I think maybe just this podcast. But like the sad part about it is, bro, is I'm sure you've had this, and you could speak on it, that your friends only want to get something from you if it's free or if it's a discount. I think to myself, I'm like, damn, like the prime example, bro. Prime example is my supplement company, Savage Sport Nutrition. I came out with a pre-workout pump. I had aminos coming, the whole 9. And all my friends, bro, all the messages, hey man, so when are you going to give me a tub? I'm thinking to myself, do you go to Dymatize? Do you go to Muscle Farm? Do you go to these other companies asking like, hey, you going to give me a tub? No, because you just buy it. And I'm it's like they never supported it unless they got it for free. And back then the cost, out the door, labeled, bottled, the whole 9. It's not that it wasn't crazy expensive, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and that's what puts food on my table and allows me to do my entrepreneurship. But they always wanted something free or wanted a discount and never bought it. I did have some friends that bought it religiously. So that's awesome. But to go back to this conversation that I had is that now that they see where this podcast is right now, and it's only, like I said, it's only 8 episodes on right now, essentially. But now I'm getting messages from these people that are saying, hey man, if you ever want to have me on, and I'm kind of like, I'm just like, so, and so, dude, and I'm being very, very respectful, and it's not because I think I'm this podcaster, right? In my sense, is like I could have anybody on. I could go to Safeway down the road and be like, "Hey, bro, you want to be on my podcast?" And people just like the idea of it. But my thing is and I'm not trying to bash these other people, but I like to have like valuable information or value information or whatever for people because you got your pro card, your husband, your father, CEO, entrepreneur, professional coach. You bought land, you're doing cattle. Like that is a lot. And I think it's great to have that on the podcast because that is some stuff that I have thought about doing and it's stuff that other people thought about doing and or they're doing right now. But now they see this podcast and they're like, oh, dude, I think it started, damn, was it the last one? I think it was it was the most recent episode because my brother-in-law, Kevin Gaden, he's a 2-time Purple Heart recipient. He was on episode 2, and then he was on my last episode, which episode 2 is my most viewed episode with him. It's like 80 over 80.
Where you're all sitting down in front of each other.
Yeah. That's episode 2, and then we did the same thing, episode 8, recorded in house with the iPhone, which is fantastic, by the way, to record.
I saw the preview for 8.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I saw the preview for 8, so I'm gonna have to watch 8. Yeah.
It's I made a post about it and I said people have to have a sense of humor because it's like locker room talk, which that's the whole purpose of this popcorn podcast. So there may be some things in it that people are gonna be like, oh dang. But anyways, it's like now they see these episodes and like, oh, he's having, the military people come on and then you and having Kelly Burke on. And dude, you're a household name in DFW, bro.
They want to be on the camera. Man.
Exactly. So it was like, man, I kind of hope he sees it because dude, it's all fun and games, bro. And I ain't talking smack about you, but it's just that like he was like, oh, by the way, if you want to have me on, and I'm like, it's like I'm okay, man. And I'm not trying to be mean, bro. But at the end of the day, it is like a business in that sense, and I'm not saying I don't need them because I do need the support, but it's just where I'm trying to keep this right now. Like I just I am not afraid to talk to anybody. I'm not afraid to message anybody online or send an email. And if I get ghosted, I get ghosted. The thing is when I joined the military and I went away from my family for like 7.5 weeks, dude, I like never became closer to like God in that sense. Like they give you a Bible before you go. You go to MEPS, and right before you leave, they have these little handheld Bibles that you can take for every branch. Dude, nobody was taking them. And I'm like, I looked at it and something was like, take it with you. And dude, I took it with me and I would like rip out like little pages and stuff like that and like send it back to my wife of like things that like resonated with me. And dude, and from there, everything just made sense. I'm like, okay, cool. If I send this message or I send this email and I don't hear anything back, I'm not going to freak out about it if I don't get a response. Either they're busy, they didn't get to it, they read it and they saw it and they're just like, no, it's fine. I just keep it moving because why am I going to sit here and wait for one person when I could be out there hustling? So I don't know if I told you. Did I tell you about the real estate guy that I have coming on next week?
Yeah, he owns 10,000 properties.
Yeah, bro. Dude, I messaged him. He replied within 2 minutes and said, I would love to work with you. That's all it was. I told him what my podcast name was. I told him how many episodes I had. I told him, what I try to do. And I told him like, hey man, I'm interested in real estate. And I was like, I would love for you to come on and talk to the audience and show them. And replied within 2 minutes, bro. So next Friday, he's giving me, I'm humbled to have his time because he owns over 10,000 units, bro. That's big time. And so it's nice. It's nice. And, it's just one of those things where I'm doing this for fun on the side because of getting medically retired, and then of course Christina's being deployed. So being a stay-at-home dad and having something to do and be busy with it and see where it goes, I'm all about the journey, bro. I've had multiple businesses and I've had successes in every single one of them, and it's just like, man, maybe this is something I want to do because I do like to talk to people. And then so going back to messaging people, I saw a documentary. I don't know if you saw this post, but I saw a documentary on Netflix called Medal of Honor, and it is a documentary about this army unit over in Afghanistan. It was at a outpost called Keating, 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 and one of the guys there ended up getting the highest award you can get in the military, which is a Medal of Honor. So he's alive. He got it, and he has his troops and everything with him that that have their accolades and everything. And one of the guys that was on there, he stuck out to me because he's so damn tall, bro. This guy looked like he's like 6'6", army dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, this guy's super tall. He's got a beard, and he was in that documentary. Of course, he was part of that unit. Dude, they fought off over like 400 Taliban and ended up walking away and winning that battle. Is insane, bro. So I messaged him on Instagram. He replied within the day and said yes about coming on. He said, hey, give me a couple weeks. I'm hunting right now. I said, bro, take your time. I said, I'm not trying to there's no rush. I just, I was like, I'm even humbled that you responded. And so I'm getting somebody off of Netflix in a documentary series that happened back in 2009 that is like real world stuff and like a war hero, along with my brother-in-law who was deployed to Ramadi and I think Fallujah in Iraq in 2004 and 2006. Got blown up twice, bro. His flag's right here, and it's up above that little wing right there, but he signed it, and his unit was the most I think is the most famous Marine battalion unit in the Marines. They're called 2-4 Echo, and they're called the Magnificent Bastards. This right here, one second. You see. So I'm not trying to plug the author of this by any means.
Bastards, like the Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, man. So this is the book right here. It's called Echo in Ramadi, and this is his unit. Super famous. You can find it all over the place, online, Amazon. But yeah, so it's like things like that's what I really want to gear towards, and I just feel bad when somebody just messages me and we're good friends and like they're just like, hey bro, you want to have me on? I'm like,
He's like,
yeah. So
do, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And that's the thing, man. I don't want to turn anybody down because everyone's got a story. But just like what you're saying, it's like, they're kind of chilling until they catch like that bug or that wave of seeing you kind of like where you're going with it and like how they can be a part of it. Which I definitely appreciate it 100%. But I just, I wish people just like supported friends in their businesses a whole lot more, dude, because it's like supporting local and stuff like that. I remember the one time I wanted to buy one of your shirts, bro. I don't even know if I have it, to be honest with you. It was like one of the OGs, like dark navy with the white lettering. And
Beast mode workout.
That's what it is. Yeah. And I was like, hey man, I want to get
one of those shirts.
Yeah, you're like, man, $20.
I think I tried to give it to you. You're like, no, bro, I want to buy it.
Yeah, you said because at the shop, that's where we, that's like the relationship there. And yeah, you were in Fitness Connection, and I was like, hey bro, and you're like, oh man, let me just go give one to you. And I said, no, and I pulled out and you said, I was like, how much? You said 20, so I pulled out a 20. Literally went to the trunk of your car, had the size, and gave it to me. I'm like, dude, I was like, hell yeah, dude, that's what it was about. So yeah.
Hey, then you went and got Uriel to come back and buy one too. You was like, hey bro, this is who I got the shirt from. He was like, let me get one too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chris not only bought a shirt, he brought me a customer tonight.
Yeah, man. That's the thing, man. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. And I don't know. I'm just so passionate about that stuff, man. And that's a good thing that you said is that you got to create your own crowd in almost every type of endeavor that you want to do, because not everybody that you're cool with that you see on Facebook and Instagram, not everyone's going to support you. You got to grab a new crowd. And so, it's all about the process and the growth, and I'm all about the journey. So
definitely got to embrace the journey, man.
Yeah, it's the best part of it. So do you have anything else like lined up as far as like business endeavors, or like are you just going to be where you're at now with the farm and getting set up and situated there? Because you said it's 2.5 hours from where you're at now, right?
It's 2.5 hours. It's East Texas, bro. So yeah, it's 2.5 hours from where I am in Dallas Fort Worth. But yeah, man, that's it. Just pretty much trying to streamline. I just want to streamline everything I have and try to layer off and get rid of anything that would be a distraction in order for me to really focus. Because I believe the more focused energy that you have on something, the more successful that you could be. So the more that you could put into like your podcast and like the stuff that I'm working on, bro, the more successful we could be. So that's just the main thing. It's like, let me peel back some of these layers and things that, I know could be potentially holding me back from making the real money I want to make, and so, because like, you got a real estate guy coming on next week. Real estate's unlimited, bro. So I want to put my full attention, focus on this real estate, and really just focusing on the personal branding, bro, and really just marketing me and what my products, bro. So it's all e-commerce for me, bro. All online products, and real estate. I mean, that's it, bro.
E-commerce is big, bro, and it's only getting bigger. And that's what people want to do. But people sit in bed and literally scroll through Amazon and buy stuff all the time because they're sitting in bed. Dude, for me, because getting the kids in the car, driving to the destination, getting them out, and then after being where I have to be and getting it back in the car. So I'm talking about a grocery store. I'm like, dude, I just go on Instacart, get the groceries sent to the house, bro. That's how easy it is now, and
Yeah.
it,
In the future, bro, if you're a business and you don't have some kind of like digital product, you're missing it. Like you have to have some kind of digital product, I believe, like something that's just digital that somebody could buy. It could be a course, it could be, whatever it is, bro. Like I think digital products are the wave, bro. And I mean, we're already behind on the 8 ball, but you could still, we're not too far behind where we can't get in. So that's why I thankfully released my first course, and hopefully it'll be many. But I look at the courses like I look at books. So the way that authors put out books in prior years, which I'm gonna put out some books too, is the same way I'm gonna release courses, bro. It'll be like I'm gonna just work on courses how an author will work on a book, because I believe that our generation, we are podcast and seminar and lecture and course generation. Like people will buy something and just sit down and listen to somebody teach them, instead of like opening up a book, a paperback. You know what I'm saying? But the paperback's good too. But or in getting the like a pamphlet or something, or like to read. So like with my course, I actually have a handbook too, which is my personal notes where I'm teaching from. So I have it in there as well if people want to read through it. But yeah, bro, I'm like digital products, bro.
too easy.
That's what
Oh, you plug a website. All I gotta do is go to this link and click this, and then buy that. Done. I don't have to worry about going somewhere.
right there.
So, are you gonna have your machines or your setup that you do your shirts with? Are you gonna move everything out there?
Yeah, I'll have everything out there. I mean, we'll have a house in the city too, which I'm working on finishing right now. So I'll probably have me another setup out there, where I can just do both. When I'm out there, I can knock some stuff out, and when I'm here, I can, same thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So
build a gym out there too. Gotta
shit,
have a
you gotta
gym on
have
the property.
plenty of room, bro.
Gotta have a gym, brother.
Yeah. So what is, I guess, kind of not necessarily put you on the spot, but to get your words of wisdom, what would you, say to somebody? It's going to be a multi-part question. So what would you say to somebody that is interested in, trying to dive into the entrepreneurship or be successful CEO of their own said company, or if they have an idea, what do you recommend them doing, or touching base on doing the farm and property, what is some advice and words of wisdom that you would give to somebody, um and just kind of speak it and just have them just listen to you.
Yeah, if somebody was trying to start a business or somebody's trying to go into entrepreneurship, I would say do it. I believe that the modern day workforce is slavery. But if you have a really good job, a really good career, hey, maximize it. Take it to the limits. But we look where our government and our economy is going now, and how much money we're giving to other countries, and what's going on at our border, and what's going on in the economy, where food prices are. Like, it's not looking very good. So I would say start it early, start as young as possible. So if you're young, or if you're military, you guys get money to start businesses. Take that money, use it as your advantage. I was telling Chris offline that we got our land through Texas Land of Veterans, Texas Land for Veterans. They have loans specifically for you to buy land if you're in Texas. So I'm sure they have them in other states too. Actually, they do. We looked at the website, so they have them in pretty much every state. It's like, I guess, Virginia Land for Veterans or blah blah blah, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I would say do it young, do it early. And then specify whatever field that you want to be in. Start creating content specified around that field on social, creating a presence and a voice for yourself of being in that field or that lane. And then start telling people and educate people. Give something away for free too. So like what Chris was talking about with my brand, when he came up to me, I said I was gonna give him a shirt because I told myself I was gonna print 100 shirts from my brand and give them away for free. Chris, when he came up to me and asked for a shirt, he was like one of the last with the 100. Like it was close to that number.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't know. In my mind, I was like, dang, wait till I can start selling these, because I wasn't really selling them like that. I was just giving them away. Like I was printing these shirts, buying them, and giving them away because I was building my brand. So he insisted on buying, and he didn't know, with him insisting on buying that product that day, that just showed me that my product was that good where people would want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, it just boom, it skyrocketed. I got it in the store from that point with the help of him too.
Yeah.
So we started selling them in the store, and like people were like, bro, I've sold my shirts on pretty much in every country in the world. Like people have purchased KRB apparel around the world. And so at one point, like it was doing crazy. But I'm trying to build it back up there because I actually pulled back from the brand myself, trying to figure out life and navigate through family and et cetera, et cetera. So trying to build it back up. But I would just say start young, start early. If farming is always a great industry to get in, or just buying land, like just having land and building your own house, because you don't have to build a normal house. You can build a barn dominium. You can build just a regular barn house. You can build a metal building. Like you can put up a metal frame and just turn it into a house. You have so many options. You could do crates. The
Crates is cool.
What do you call it? Yeah, the real cool. So you have a lot tiny homes.
Mm-hmm.
You can get your motor home like I did. You won't have any rent. Like, you know what I mean? Like the mortgage. It's a lot of different options that you can do with the land and then build it up. And so, if you have kids, young kids, they will love it. My kids are so excited about the thought of being on a farm and be around animals and be able to run around. Like you should shit with the chickens now, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's the best, man.
Kids just love animals. And then it also helps them get over fears at a young age. A lot of us have fears with animals, fear with nature, because we were raised in the city and our parents weren't into that. And nobody else was. And so when you talk about, like, I'm gonna get chickens in the backyard, they're like, oh. This lady was like, those chickens, like, I just don't trust them because, they carry diseases, and the eggs will have some kind of diseases in them. What's an egg? It's a shell. The shell has a protective layer and coat on it to protect what's inside of the egg, which is the egg itself. So nothing's gonna happen from it. I'm like acting like Trump now. Nothing's gonna happen from it. But you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, I would say go after it young, go after it early, get passionate about it, start making content surrounded it, and in the midst of that, get a base of people that you can start giving out stuff to. DM people talking about whatever you're trying to work on, and get them to repost some of your stuff or share some of your content. And just the sky's the limit, bro. And just keep going. If you have a dream or a vision, I would say keep going until you make it happen. Never stop chasing it. Like like if you're a man, we were birthed to have purpose through work. You've got to be working on something. And ultimately, like with my self-mastery course, the main thing that you need to be working on is yourself. So you're building something physically in the earth, and then you're building yourself simultaneously. So the bigger that your brand gets, the bigger that your business gets, the bigger that you get on your job, the bigger you should get too. Because as you grow here on the physical side with what you're putting your hands to, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, you should be growing just as big. So the two equal each other, so that if your work ever falls off, this
can carry
this being that you built, it can carry it. And then you can always go back into a different figure of work and go figure out another business because you're up here. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's my advice.
So after we end this, I'm going to get that link from you, so everybody, you can check out the clothing apparel, his life coaching. Is it a separate website or is it all one?
It's two. So we got the KRB apparel, and then we got kellyburke.com. So two different sites.
Yeah, so I'll get those links from you, and
you can get through the apparel. If we just gave them, we can give them both. But if you go through the kellyburke.com, you can get to the apparel.
Oh yeah, brother, we're gonna give them everything. I'm gonna put everything in the description, dude, and just to show the support, and that way people can check it out across the platform and the social media. So, man, I appreciate you coming on, bro. It's it's been a wild ride since I joined the military, and then even before then, going back to the shop, and then COVID hit, and now where we are now, everything is supposed to happen.
Man, you mixed it all the way up. I was like, dang, bro, what happened? You left?
Dude, I was the oldest person in boot camp and in my tech school before I went operational. Everybody called me Grandpa Burke, but I'll tell you what, though, Grandpa Burke, dude, listen, bro. I set 2 boot camp records for fitness out there doing the push-ups. Two records, bro. So I was like, you know what? I was 31 at the time, and then I turned 32 while I was in tech school, and this I don't want to say this old man, but this older guy, with these kids. I was in there with kids like, man, 20 years old, 18, 24.
My wife went to the military when she was older too, bro. So saying her story is the same way. She was like, man, they're kids. They're like 18, 17 years old, fresh out of high school. So she was like, man, you feel like they kept calling her the older lady and like all that. She
Yeah,
was like, her story is the same as yours, bro.
that's awesome. What branch is she serving?
Army, bro.
Oh, that's awesome! Holy cow!
That's how we got the Texas 11 veteran. I'm not military.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I didn't even know that. Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
funny because when we go out places, people like they're like, "Are you military?" With the sheriff,
Come on,
like
baby.
people
Come on,
always ask
baby.
me, "Was I?" Yeah, I was like, "No, it was her." They're like, "Really? When the guest that?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's the soldier." So
There,
I'm a soldier in my heart. I got my gun on me right now. I stay ready. I'm a soldier. I just didn't serve.
yeah, man. It's I've actually had to correct some people when Christina and I have been out and about because I don't like that they just assume in that sense, because they'll be like, oh, hey, do you guys do military discount or this and that, and then they'll look at me like, what branch are you? And I'm like, oh, no, this is my wife. She's military, and then they do the same thing. Oh, and I'm just like, damn, man, like it's
Well,
not to
both of
just
y'all are actually military.
now we are, but before then it was her.
Oh, she's been in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she'd been in since 2017, and then I joined in 2020, and then but yeah, man, it's cool. I didn't know that about your wife. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's man, it's been fun, bro. We're gonna have to do this again and come up with and go over like another topic or something because I talk about everything on here. I'm not there's no filter in that sense, and I know YouTube will demonetize you if you cuss in the first like 7 seconds or 15 seconds of a video. So
What they say, right?
yeah, and then there's like this whole thing that they'll demonetize you if you talk about I don't even know if it's true, but if you talk about COVID-19 and something like that, I'm like, dude, yeah, I gotta.
Yeah, you can't say the real word and all that. I'm sure they're a lot more lenient now because
Yeah,
the truth is about the vaccine and COVID. So.
yeah. But cool, man. I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, this was fun. This was episode 9 with Kelly Burke. Everybody, go check out his clothing apparel. Go check out his life coaching website. I'm going to put it in the description for you guys. We got the Intel Within podcast supplement sponsors right here. I'm going to have a video before this video starts talking about the sponsors that we have. That way you guys can go there and plug and check out and use the discounts, and you guys get set up with some cool stuff. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. This episode will be out in probably a couple days. Going to send it over, get it edited and published. That way you guys can view it or listen to it, whatever platform you guys choose. And yeah, so this was episode 9, and we'll catch you guys next week, where I will have a very, very, very successful realtor on. Could be subject to change. We don't know yet, but I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.